Welcome to episode 130 of the Loane Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about some standouts in last night's matchup between the Rangers and the Sharks. And the Rangers, they had a really good effort throughout the first half or so of the game, and they were really controlling play, really controlling the pace, possession, ozone play. And a lot of their efforts were going right throughout this game, and they almost ran away with the game, and they managed to continue to score, continue to get better throughout the game, and they showcased a lot of skill and talent all across the board like they usually do. And so the Rangers, again, they put forth a dominating effort. They had some really good efforts from all their players all around. And starting with Adam Fox, I thought Adam Fox looked really good moving the puck from the back end. He looked really good on breakouts, retrievals, and many different situations where he's heavily relied upon as he is the type of guy who is obviously a number one defenseman on this team and plays a very consistent role. And he's very relied upon in all situations. And just a guy who can play not only an all around game, but a really well rounded offensive game. And his ozone possession game is really good, really fluid. And there's a lot of rhythm in terms of how he's able to move and how freely he can move in the ozone. And so he uses deception really well. I saw that on a lot of his passes and also a lot of his maneuvers inside the ozone, walking the line, moving laterally. And so he's really efficient in that realm. He's really efficient creating offense, really efficient as an all around playmaker as well. And Artemi Panarin had a really nice dish on Vincent Trocheck's goal, and he maneuvered just inside the entry and delivered a pass to Trocheck, who was streaking behind everybody. And he delivered the pass flat on the ice, and all Trocheck had to do was angle his blade into it so he could tip it top shelf. Did a really good job of that. Panarin does a really good job showcasing that vision, that playmaking, the awareness, the small area instincts, and just a guy who doesn't play like he's, I believe, 33 years old already. He doesn't play like he's that. Plays like he's 24, 25 years old in the league. And he's just so consistent year in, year out. He's become so much better for the Rangers over the course of his career with them thus far. And just a guy who's very consistent as well, has continued to improve defensively for the Rangers as well. And very relied upon in every single facet of the game. And his rush play looked really good yesterday. I noticed the dynamic of his patterning and the entry elements really linking together for him yesterday. And he did a really good job of being able to showcase that all throughout the game. And Jimmy Vesey looked good yesterday and brings some checking ability, brings some forecheck tenacity. A guy who's more relied upon defensively than he is offensively. He's more of a bottom nine winger, bottom six type winger. And so with VC, he's a guy that you can rely upon in those situations defensively and know that you're getting a shutdown winger out of him. And that's the consistent aspect of his game that he brings. And so he's really relied upon that aspect, that realm, and played really well yesterday. Mika Zibanejad had a really good game. I noticed him all around the net almost all the time. He was creating and he was moving off the puck really fluidly. I would say his off puck movement was the biggest attribute I noticed in his game in this game because he was moving not only moving off the puck really fluidly, but he was able to execute and be able to find those seams, be able to find passing lanes, be able to develop instincts around the net so that way he can move into space and find space, backdoor, and just really good with his off puck instincts and awareness yesterday. And he looked really calm, really fluid. Adam Enstrom looked really good in terms of forecheck tenacity and ability to deliver an impact in the game in that realm. And Edstrom, a big winger, obviously, a guy who's similar to Matt Rempe and what he brought last year, just slightly less of a physical edge and fighter's edge. But Edstrom's pretty similar and brought some reliability, some steadiness, some two-way play, some shutdown play. He's got a really good reach, given that he's a very tall player. So his stick extension's quite long. He's able to defend sequences from range pretty easily and pretty effortlessly. And so we'll get to the Rangers, or we'll get to the Sharks side now. And William Eklund looked really good throughout this game. He was moving well. His routes looked good. He was timing his sequences off the puck in the neutral zone. His neutral zone transition routes were timed well. I thought he looked really engaged off the puck, and that's a really good sign. On the puck, I noticed a little inconsistency in terms of being able to maneuver in small areas in this game, but when he's hot, he's hot, he's rolling, and he's very consistent when he's rolling. So a guy who can be very reliable as an offensive player, and he's looking to build off the season that he had last year and continue to make improvements and adjustments to that over time as well. Timothy Liljegren has been a really good fit for them thus far ever since getting traded from Toronto. and notched his first career point as a Shark yesterday. He had a goal and just has been, I wouldn't say a seamless fit, but he's been a really nice fit to this team. A guy who can play a top four role. He's had experience playing inside Toronto's top four. And so he's a guy in this situation with San Jose now, he gets more opportunity offensively. So yes, he can be a top 4D, but he can be relied upon even more offensively and garner some of that untapped offensive potential that he has and still has yet to go after. So there's certainly more potential to become and for him to become a not a marquee offensive player, but a guy who can be reliable offensively in many different facets. Macklin Celebrini looked really good transitioning the puck. I noticed he had a little bit of trouble trying to maneuver on the Rangers defenseman. The Rangers have a bigger decor, so sometimes guys can get easily knocked off the puck because they're so strong and sturdy and they have really good center of gravities, each one of them. When you think of guys like Braden Schneider, and then there's Keandre Miller, there's Jacob Truba. Adam Fox isn't the most physically imposing, but in terms of timing and route timing, he's very imposing in that sense. And the Sharks were just defending some of their entries well, I would say. They had some players who were defending entries well. Liljegren was one, and they had some other. CC looked okay at being able to defend entries as well. And Celebrini in general looked really good throughout this game. Will Smith looked good. The rookies looked good in general. Fabian Zetterlund was showing speed off the rush, and he's a guy that's very reliable as a rush type winger and a guy who can be very consistent on the wing, same play up and down their top six in San Jose. So he's a guy that's slightly underrated on this team. You don't necessarily hear about him a ton, but he can get going when he's going. And he can fly, he can move with speed. He has a top end gear to him. He has separation speed. There's a lot of different elements that link together, not only to his skating, but to his puck handling as well. And then Tyler Toffoli also looked really good as his playmaker this game. I've noticed him in the season playing with Macklin, especially, but at the same time, I've noticed his individual dual threat capabilities as both passer and goal scorer. He's a guy who can he can do both. He can move really well around the crease and be able to anticipate sequences, anticipate lanes, and so on and so forth. So a guy that's very versatile for San Jose on this team, and a guy who's going to continue to look to make an impact over the course of the season for them thus far as well.